Hello, and you're very welcome back to another episode where me, Paul, plays TIS-100. This is the next puzzle we need to do, signal divider. Right, read values from in.A and in.B, divide by in.A, divide in.A by in.B, write the quotient, and write the remainder. It's division, isn't it? Can we do division using the tools that we have, which is basically addition, subtraction, and a bit of a branch statement? Well, the answer that's almost definitely yes, seeing as they've given us the puzzle. And the obvious way of doing it is using, mimicking division using subtraction. And the way that works is you subtract B from A until you get a number less than 0, counting each time you did the subtraction. And what's the number of counts is the quotient. And what's left is an approximation is a version of the remainder, but it'll be negative in that if, like a really simple one, if I was to divide 8 by 5, I subtract once, I get 1, I subtract again, so I subtract 1, that leaves me 3, I subtract 5 from 3, I get -2. The actual remainder I'm looking for is 3, but I can get to the 3 by adding the -2 to what I was originally dividing by the 5. It'll make sense, but it all works out. It is very possible to do. So with that in mind, let's get going. I'm going to do the division in the box below. Move up, down. Move up to the accumulator. I like putting a start label. I'm bound to use them. Although in this case, I almost certainly won't, but let's put one in anyway. Now, this box has to do the division. So what it's going to do is, as I explained earlier, it's going to subtract the B number until it manages to get a result and keep track of, the total. So it's going to start off with the original value. It's going to subtract the B from it, check if that's less than 0. If not, it's going to keep subtracting the B from it until it gets a number less than 0. And then each time it subtracts, it needs to be adding 1. So I'm proposing to use both the accumulator and the backup here. The accumulator and the backup, obviously they're interchangeable, but one is going to be used for the number which is going to be shrinking each time by subtraction, and the other one is going to be a count. So when I do this second time, as I fall back into the loop, my count will also need to be reset, otherwise I'd be adding the count to it. So let's get going with that. So save that, move the accumulator, and here's the main loop. So we're in the main loop, and at the moment, presumes we've done 2 moves to the accumulator. The first one is the number we're decrementing, or that's being decremented, and the second one here, which is currently in the accumulator, is the count. I don't want the count at the moment because I want to subtract right. And jump on less than 0 to the end. So I keep subtracting the right until less than 0. So I'm just going to put like a label here, more. This obviously doesn't need it because I'm not going to jump to it, I don't think, but just so I know this is for more. Move up, down. Now, this box has a job. Its job is going to be to keep feeding it this B indefinitely until this one no longer needs it anymore and asks for the next one in the list. So move up to the accumulator. Yeah, not add, accumulator. Move accumulator left. So move up to the accumulator, move it left. Now I need a signal. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I need a signal from the left hand side, from the left box here, to say what it needs to do. So I'm going to use, like they've been using 0 for end of stream, so I'm going to use the same kind of concept. I need to move, so I need to save that, move left to the accumulator, save it, move left to the accumulator, and 0 means get me a new number. So jump unequal to 0. Or move left to the accumulator. Move left. To the accumulator. Jump on not 0 to somewhere. Where? To there. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, fine. So, should that do it? So we get a number in, move up to the accumulator. We send it out. I save it, move accumulator left. Jump on not 0. So I'm in effect missing, I need to switch it back, don't I? So swap. Okay. So what's this one going to do? Jump on less than 0 to end. Will I write the end first? No, I'll write the more first. So I want more, so I'm going to move 1 to the right. And I then need to add 1 to the current count that I've done. So I need to swap that, add 1. And then if I jump to L, there's a swap, subtract right. Okay, so the first thing I need to do here is a swap. Yeah, because this is actually wrong up here as well, isn't it? Because this is the first one. This was the count. So I didn't want to subtract right from the count. I wanted to subtract right from that one there. That's right. So if I get to the end, what do I need to do? I need to move 0 to the right, which is the signal for that. And move accumulator down. So the first thing being down is this kind of pseudo remainder, because this is what I've just in effect checked. And then swap, move accumulator down. And fall back to the top. So I need to move up right. And then move up down. So this one here is going to get the accumulator from, going to get the pseudo remainder from the left, move left into the accumulator, add, and it's going to have to add, so I'm going to have to get a copy of this. So move up to the accumulator, move accumulator down. I need to save it. Save, okay. What is that doing? Nothing. Okay, I didn't finish it down here, did I? Move left to the accumulator, add up, move accumulator down. So where have we gone wrong with this? Let me just have a quick. So move accumulator down, move add left. Okay, that's ticking along nicely. Yeah, I just had these in the wrong order there, and it was blocking when it shouldn't have. So I'm going to run this and see. So about 184 cycles, and that's done. I mean, it's quite high in cycles, and I mean, there's one obvious problem. Well, not problem. So there's one obvious thing that we could have a look at. I'm just conscious of time. No, we'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at it. That's working. That's doing the division. It's relatively simple. Well, it's not simple, but it works. However, if it's dividing by 1, and we do have a number of them, there's one there, one there, one there. This is an awful waste. In effect, we know the answer to this. And the answer is always going to be that number and 0. So if we're faced with that, what can we do? I mean, because if I can throw away the ones, we should save a fair bit of time. Well, we'll save some time. I mean, it'll add a bit of extra complexity to every number, but should save dramatically when we're dividing by 1. So I'm going to try and do that just as an exercise in messing around with this, even though it is solved and we don't really need to do it, but why the hell not? So the first thing is, I could try and sort of, detect them and kind of scoot them around it. But I've got a block here, and I'd have to have multiple ways in to these ones. So they'd have to sort of, am I getting the number from up, or am I getting the number from left here, because I've kind of detected it and sent them around the other way. And then I'd have to be careful that things don't get out of sequence. So what I'm going to do is not that, although that is probably very possible and probably would shave another couple of cycles off. What I'm going to do is something a little bit more bizarre, but send the wrong numbers into the divider to get the right answer. No, that's not what I said. No, to get the wrong answer and detect it. So let's just think about this for a second. If I am dividing 70 by 1, the answer is 70 and 0. And if you look at this, you'll see that they never give us an answer which has just a remainder. So there is never a 0 in this column with the numbers that it has given us. If we had these reversed, so a 0 here and a 70 here, I could detect that and switch them round again. So you may ask, brilliant, that gets us nowhere. Why this philosophy? If you had 6 numbers here and 4, yeah, but I think there is a point to this. If I'm asked to divide 70 by 1, but I then divide 70 by 71, what does that give me? Well, 70 divided by 71. 70 does not go into 71, so that should give me 0 as the quotient. And what's the remainder? The remainder should be 70. You see where we're getting to now? So that simple trick, I can use all this division code without trying to bypass it. And so we'll have a look at it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to send them both in because I need to swap. I need to be able to, in this box here, manipulate them. So this guy's going to send him in and get one back, depending on what this guy wants to do with him. So move up to the accumulator. Save it. Subtract 1. Jump on equal to 0, 1. 1. So this is not 1. This is, I've been asked to divide by a number, but it isn't 1. So what do I need to do? I just need to send this guy straight back at itself. Move left, left. And then I need to send this guy down. Now I could add 1, but I could just do swap. In fact, I probably don't need to save it, do I? I can always, because all I've ever done is subtract 1 from it. So I probably could just add 1 to it. No, I'm just going to swap. Move accumulator down, but you could probably save a cycle there. 1. Okay, so this now we've been asked to. So we've been asked to do a division by 1, so I want to do this crazy division instead. So move left to the accumulator. And I still move accumulator left. So I've been asked to divide 70 by 1. I still want to divide 70, so I'm going to send it straight back, but add 1, move accumulator down. I actually want to divide 70 by 71. So this should no longer work. Okay, that doesn't work very, very badly. Jump on equal to 0, 1. Swap here. Jump back to the start. Okay, so it's now wrong, but it's wrong in a right kind of way. It says, you know, it's good, but it's bad, but it's good. So we'll just call it good. So that's done what I want it to do. All the other numbers are right. We haven't affected any of the other divisions. Just these divisions by 1 are now wrong, but they're wrong in a very, very predictable way. Instead of having 86 and 0, we have 0 and 86. And these zeros are and should be the only zeros that are appearing in this list. If it ever gives us a less than a B in these numbers, then this won't work because we will have some genuine zeros for the quotient here. But because we don't, this trick is working and getting us there. So now all I need to do is detect it and flip them round. So in a case where I get a 0 as the quotient, I want to switch them round here in terms of the output. Otherwise, I want to yeah. Okay, I either switch them around or keep them the way they are. So I need to send this guy into him and then get move left down. Get a number back. Move up to the accumulator. And I'm going to put a start label there. And then I need to do this addition that I had done over there. Add right. Save it. Move up to the accumulator. This is the new value, and this is the quotient, the one that I need to be checking. Jump and equal to 0, Z. So this is my normal path now. I don't want to do anything with this. It's not a 0. This is the way, not the old way, the 90% route. So move accumulator down, swap it, move accumulator right, and jump back to the start. So basically that just sends them down in that order back the way they are. In the Z case, I have got a 0. I need to move the accumulator right. So in effect, I'm moving. So I know the accumulator is 0 in this case. So 0 is going here because the remainder is going to be 0. And move accumulator down finally to move out the quotient part of it. Okay, so I've lost here the quotient, the 62 in yes, I've just moved the same number out twice, haven't I? I've forgotten a swap. Yay! Okay, and that's a bit better. It was about 7.2 before. It's now 5.2-ish, 5.2K. That's not too bad. And it's just starting to fall off the large peak here. So obviously this is an optimization, but there are some, that number there looks like about 3K, which is impressive. I mean, I wonder if these solutions here, are they doing something like trying to implement some kind of long division algorithm rather than this subtraction nonsense, which I'm doing. Possibly. Like I haven't gone to any forums. I haven't gone anywhere to check. I haven't read anything good techniques. I haven't looked at anybody else's solutions to these. I want to do them myself. That's kind of half the fun of it. So I'm not sure, but if anybody has any ideas, like now I've done this, if anybody has, any clever insight in where this goes to get really low numbers, is it writing some sort of long division algorithm in this code here? The problem with that is you almost need to be able to, to write long division, it's this kind of up and down, the number here, and then you do all that kind of thing. That you need to almost parse the number as a string. You don't say, look, show me the first digit Now you're only dividing by one digit. So it would be a simplified version of the algorithm, possibly possible to do. Or maybe there's just something else clever. Maybe you can take the subtraction method a bit further. I'm not sure. But I mean, I think there's a couple of places where I said, oh, do I really need to be doing, so I feel like you could chuck away a few swaps and a few adds here and there. But I mean, it's not going to, you're not going to halve the score by doing it. It's, and, the other thing then that's obviously possible with these is to parallelize them. So deliberately to design your solution with two roots. And, we actually have we have 3 empty boxes, and 4 quite busy. I don't know. I mean, possibly there's always a chance, if you have the boxes spare to sort of drive half the numbers one way and just have copies of the code, almost like a parallel, like a transputer, like, two CPU cores capable of running the same work. So that may be where the lower score gets. If you can, maybe crush these back into one box and then, lose a box, and then you'd have enough maybe spare to run 2 parallel routes or something. There are plenty of options. Anyway, it's a fascinating game, and when I've done an initial run through, I probably will have a go at looking at the, at least the achievements in the game, and then maybe, doing 1 or 2 at low scores just for the fun. Right, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do drop a like on it. If you have any comments, especially about how this could be solved with half the number of cycles, then please do drop them on it. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks to everybody who's been subscribing and commenting and liking the videos. Your support is much appreciated. Thanks again. And like I said, if you do fancy subscribing to the channel, that would be great too. If you don't, that's great too. Thanks again for watching. Bye now.